Breaking news! What we're seeing unfold now could completely shake up Miami's roster, and the tension behind closed doors is starting to show. If you thought this preseason was just a warm-up, think again. There are serious internal battles being waged, surprising standouts catching the eye, and, yes, major draft disappointments that no one in the front office wants to talk about. But I'm going to talk about them. The mistakes continue to pile up, and while Mike McDaniel tries to build a Super Bowl-ready team, Greer's decisions still haunt the roster. But let's talk about all of this. Right now, I have details you won't hear anywhere else, because what's happening in these joint practices and preseason scrimmages is exposing everything. But before I reveal everything, be sure to like this if you've been following the Dolphins through thick and thin, especially if you've been around through the disappointments, the rebuilds, and still chant Go, Dolphins. Leave a comment, Go, Dolphins. My heart bleeds teal and orange. Okay, buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you view some of your favorite players, and possibly the entire future of this team. Let's get into it. First and foremost, the heat is on Quinn Ewers. For the second straight week, he's the #1 player to watch, and not for good reasons. Last week's performance was, quite frankly, brutal. 5 completions on 18 attempts, a quarterback rating of 48, and 2 turnover-worthy plays? That's the kind of stat line that gets guys cut. And if you remove a garbage-time 39-yard gain from a desperation hook and ladder play, he barely cracked 50 yards in the air. Quinn looked lost. No poise, no confidence. His mechanics were sloppy, and his decision-making slower than a Florida summer. All eyes are on him this Saturday, because another performance like that could slam the door shut on his hopes of being a legit option in this quarterback room. Speaking of quarterbacks, Zach Wilson isn't far behind. Last week, he had some flashes, a dart to Nick Westbrook over the middle, a strong throw into the end zone, albeit a difficult catch attempt, but then he followed that up by holding the ball too long, missing a wide-open touchdown on a streak route, and nearly throwing a pick six. On tape, it looked even worse. Yes, he had a better outing than Quinn Ewers, but that's not saying much. The Dolphins need one of these guys to show they can be trusted to take meaningful reps if something happens to Tua. If not, this backup QB situation is quietly becoming one of the most troubling issues of camp. Then there's Jalen Wright. With Alexander Mattison out for the season after neck surgery, Wright is now sitting comfortably as RB2 on the depth chart. But comfortably doesn't mean securely. Last week, Wright had multiple carries stuffed at the goal line. The problem? Vision, patience, and acceleration. None of them were on display. We need to see him take command of the opportunity, especially with Devin Achane likely being preserved in bubble wrap until the regular season. Wright's leash is short, especially with Ollie Gordon lurking. And let's talk about Ollie Gordon. The guy is turning heads. He was arguably the second best back last week behind Achane, clearly outplaying both Mattison and Wright. If he strings together another strong game, this RB2 competition could flip on its head. It's not hard to imagine McDaniel rolling into week 1 with Gordon leapfrogging Wright if Saturday goes the same way the Bears game did. On the defensive side, Cam Smith is on life support. The third-year corner has to deliver something, anything, this week or his time in Miami could come to a crashing end. He hasn't shown enough, and frankly, he's on the outside looking in when it comes to the final cornerback slots. Saturday is his make-or-break game. If he can't flash in joint practices and in the matchup against the Lions, Chris Grier's second-round pick is officially a bust. At this point, would you cut Cam Smith? Let me know in the comments. Y for yes, N for no. Taj Washington is another name to keep tabs on. He wasn't even on the radar a week ago, but after a stellar showing against the Bears, he's climbing fast. A 34-yard route under pressure and a tough grab over the middle from Tua? That's NFL caliber stuff. He barely played in the second half, likely because the coaches liked what they saw. If he follows it up with another solid outing, he might edge out Theo East Jr. for the final wide receiver spot. Keep your eyes glued to number 85. Defensively, Jonah Savaiania, yes, your starting left guard, is getting reps but still has growing pains. He had some really solid plays, sealing off lanes for Jalen Wright's touchdown run and getting out in space on an end around. But he also showed signs of inconsistency, getting beat cleanly in a few reps. McDaniel needs to make sure Jonah is ready for week 1 against the Colts, and that means letting him play extended snaps during the preseason. He's athletic, but raw. Rounding out the list, we have Dante Trader Jr., Jordan Phillips, and Grayson Murphy. Trader is finally back from a lower body injury and fighting for that 4th safety spot behind Minka Melanu, Elijah Campbell, and the injured Ashton Davis. He needs to stand out on Saturday. Jordan Phillips, meanwhile, is showing veteran toughness and dominance. Against the Bears, he shed a double team on the goal line like it was nothing, strength, leverage, and instinct all on display. He's locked in as DT4. And how about Grayson Murphy? The UCLA product is back after missing last year with injury and exploded with 3 pressures and a sack in his return. His pass rush win rate of 16.7% may have come against backups, but that's elite territory. The race between him, Kamar, and Quentin Bell for 2 edge spots is getting spicy. Murphy has been trending up all camp long, and another strong showing could lock up his place on this team. And now we pick up right where we left off, because things are getting even more intense behind the scenes in Miami, and the margin for error is razor thin for a lot of these guys. Let's not waste time. Let's go back to the running back situation because it's quietly one of the most pivotal storylines unfolding. With Alexander Mattison out, the depth behind Devin Achane is being stress tested in real time. While Jalen Wright is technically in the RB2 slot, it's Ollie Gordon who's generating real momentum. This is where fans need to pay close attention. Gordon didn't just outperform Wright, he looked more instinctive, more explosive, and more prepared. And here's the thing, Gordon is doing this while splitting reps and still managing to stand out in limited opportunities. That tells you something. If Gordon has another strong performance against the Lions, he could go from long shot to lock. It would be one of those classic camp stories, the kind that makes or breaks depth charts. But the ripple effects go deeper. Miami just signed Aaron Champlain and Mike Boone to provide extra legs through preseason. But don't be fooled, those are insurance policies, not true competitors. It's Gordon versus Wright, and Saturday could be the defining chapter. McDaniel will be watching every carry, every decision made behind the line, every inch gained after contact. Whoever steps up could be the one standing behind a chain come week 1. That's how real the stakes are. On defense, let's talk again about Cam Smith. This is no longer a wait-and-see scenario. This is urgent. Cam Smith has had opportunities, and he's done next to nothing with them. The fact that we're talking about a former second-round pick being potentially cut is shocking, but not surprising. That's the reality when you don't produce. The cornerback room is stacked with hungry, aggressive players fighting for roster spots, and Cam has been, at best, invisible. A bad week here seals his fate. It's that simple. And it's not just about saving a spot. It's about proving you belong in the league. Because if Cam flames out in Miami, there's no guarantee he lands somewhere else. That's how fast this league moves. If you're not producing, you're gone. This game against the Lions might be his final shot. Now, a player whose stock is going in the opposite direction, Taj Washington. After that performance against the Bears, he has fans and coaches buzzing. The chemistry with both Zach Wilson and Tua looked natural. His routes were clean, and he showed toughness across the middle. For an undrafted rookie to earn that kind of trust so quickly, that's not normal. Washington is forcing the coaching staff to reconsider the WR depth chart. If he puts together another strong game, he might bump Theo East Jr. or even push a more established name to the fringe. There's a very real chance Taj makes this roster, not as a developmental guy, but as someone who can contribute day one if needed. He looks like he belongs. Let's shift back to the trenches, Jonah Savaiania. Now this one's a bit complex. Jonah is locked in as the starting left guard, but don't let that title fool you. He needs reps desperately. Against the Bears, we saw flashes of his potential, great movement on the Jalen Wright touchdown, solid blocking downfield, but we also saw cracks. Too many missed assignments, too many times getting beat clean. If McDaniel wants Jonah ready for week 1 against Indy's strong defensive front, he has to let him work through these reps now. He's athletic, he's raw, and he's a long-term answer, but Saturday is about speeding up that learning curve. On the defensive line, Jordan Phillips continues to impress. And we're not talking about a guy fighting for a spot. He's already solidified as DT4. But what makes him special is how dominant he looked against Chicago. He faced double teams, used his leverage, reset the